I don't need another flu shot. I had a flu shot last year.
A swine flu epidemic may be coming.
Swine flu shot? Well, I don't know. I've been thinking about it.
It could make you very sick.
Swine flu? Man, I'm too fast to let it catch me.
You'll want to be protected.
I'm the healthiest 55-year-old you ever seen. Hey, I play golf every weekend.
Get a shot of protection. The swine flu shot.
Joe brought it home from the office. He gave it to Betty and one of his kids, and to Betty's mother. But Betty's mother went back to California the next day. On her way to the airport, she gave it to a cab driver, a ticket agent, and one of the charming stewardesses. At school, Joe's kid gave it to some other kids, and Mrs. Merrill got it and gave it to her husband. In California, Betty's mother gave it to her best friend, Dottie. But Dottie had a heart condition and she died. But before she died, Dottie gave it to her girlfriend, the mailman, the paper boy, and the vet when she went to pick up her chihuahua.
If a swine flu epidemic comes, this is how it could spread. You'll want to be protected, especially if you're elderly or chronically ill. Get a shot of protection. The swine flu shot.
Well, 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 we are back again. Hopefully, we are live from the rolling hills of Murrayshire in the far corner of the northeast of bonny Scotland, right? Where else would you rather be? Let's go with that. At the moment, we are currently in about 2 inches of snow. Dun, dun, dun. We have the beast from the east back again with a vengeance. And so this week we're meant to be getting quite bad weather, which is not much of a surprise, to be honest, but we'll see how it goes. It is March, after all. So, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good night, wherever you are in this absolutely insane world that we're in. Holy moly. Where do you even begin? Of course, tonight we're on the backup channel because we got a strike. Shock horror. Would you, Adam and Eve it? And not only that, it is the second strike. So that means we're on a 2-week sentence now, which is seemingly the rules. The tyranny, right? Censorship. It reigns at YouTube. It's actually beyond a joke, the amount of censorship that we get. Honest to God, I don't know where to start with it. You have the United Nations with the cheek to talk about freedom of speech, freedom of expression, and no, it's non-existent. Let's face it. I got pulled on a video that it wasn't me in the video, but it was a Last Jacobites video, and the video was from 2021, and it's the first time that I've picked up a strike for what they claim is promoting the view that the American 2020 election was rigged. So you're not allowed to promote any view on that matter, seemingly, and it's quite comical considering the amount of stuff that I have said in the past in regards to elections, politicians, politics, what have you, and then they pick a video from 2021, which is not even me, which is interesting as well. I've had quite a few videos that I've not been in that have picked up strikes, but the majority is me. Of course, I would never put the blame on anyone. It was me who put the video out there on the channel. So if there's anybody to blame, it's only myself. But I would imagine there is tyranny at play here. Surely, right? You can't say anything now. I'd imagine the channel could get terminated again. With it sitting on 2 strikes, it's on thin ice, not looking good. I could go over and private all the videos or do, I don't know, something like that. But what's the point, right? I'd be doing that forever. So I don't really see the point in that. What I'll do is I'll keep going. No matter where it is, no matter what platform it's going to be, the best I can do is keep going. As long as I've got the ability, God granted, I'm going to keep going. I'm not going to bend. I'm not going to break. I'm not going to give up. It doesn't matter where it is or where I am. I'm going to keep going, right? We're in for the long haul, if you like. So you might have seen the advert there. Does anyone remember it? Was anyone about it would have been the in about 1976, 77, I think, the advert. Some of you might have been. I'm unsure. Some might recall it. I don't know if it came out in the UK. Maybe it did, the advert. But it said in straight away, Joe brought it home from the office. He gave it to his wife, who gave it to the kids, who gave it to their friends, who gave it to them, who gave it to them, who gave it to them. And it's typical. And it's basically we seen what we seen in the 2020 quote unquote pandemic. It was the same manipulation, the same tactics that they used, well and truly. And I reckon it was clearly not what they what they claimed it was. I'm trying to watch what I'm saying. Honestly, it's very hard. We're already on a strike here as well. But what they claimed, at least what they said, is that it was a pandemic. And what they tell us is that one person died, seemingly from swine flu. That's what they claimed. And they declared a pandemic, and I think about over 40 million Americans got inoculated. And we're going to get into that a lot more. So what I came across was a document from the American government that it's basically a timeline. It's a timeline of events going from the beginning of the pandemic up until the inoculation and what followed after inoculation. Not good news, shock horror. So we'll look at that, but before we get into that, I want to show you a video of. It's from the show 60 Minutes, the American news show. I'm forgetting the guy's bloody name. I was only looking at it. I'm forgetting his name, but honest to God, right? This video came out in 1979, and you actually see real journalism. It's like a complete rarity, especially to me. Basically, the majority of my life, I've only seen real journalism on very rare occasions. Today, we don't see it at all. We see drips of it. It still exists, but they don't give us real journalism, not the mainstream media. They wouldn't do that, of course. But in this video, I think you do see a glimpse of what it would be like, or what it was like, when journalism actually existed in what you could maybe call the mainstream. But it doesn't exist today. And I reckon when they see, I'm trying to watch what I'm saying again. When the 1976 pandemic rolled out, it gave them a chance to see where they might need to brush up on anything, or where anything went wrong, or where they got any problems. So the next time they could then capitalize on it. And I think through this one, they would have seen that in future, they would need to have better control of the media, if not full control of the media to a T, and not have anything that resembles real journalism, because they don't have. It doesn't exist today. But in this video that we're going to get into first, before we cover the timeline from the American government, you're going to get a glimpse of what I reckon is real journalism. Unfortunately, not today. So let's quickly jump in the chat and then say hello, and then the video's split in two. So the first clip is about 4-5 minutes, and then the second is about 8 minutes. So I'll play them. Will I play them both? I think I might. I think that might be better. So be prepared. So let me quickly say hello to see if anybody's in. We're on the backup. It could be the only the main channel. Of course, being in YouTube prison for 2 weeks is going to mean that this is the home now. So we'll continue from here. Like I said, it doesn't matter. It doesn't knock us. We're just going to keep going, and it's a pleasure to see people in tonight. Who have we got? Let me quickly see. I'm hoping the audio's okay because I'm in a different room tonight, and I've got a squeaky bloody chair, which is never a good idea, right? So who else have we got? Who have we got even? Carmel first in the door, potentially taking a day off work to join the Talbanocky community, discussing the 1976 plandemic. Life in the fast lane, right? The gangster high life here at Talbanocky. Good to see Carmel. I'd imagine Rich is in the hood. There's no Carmel without Rich, right? Where is he? There he goes, like a shadow. Good to see Rich back again. Sue as well. A pleasure to see Sue back again. Joyce is in the hood. Good to see Joyce. And I send my best wishes to a dog named Boo. Like I said, hey, my email address, you can contact me anytime. I'm willing to help anybody in any way that I can, to be honest. I would be more than willing. I certainly wouldn't not help anyone. And I was on the Last Jacobites yesterday. That was quite a good show. And I said on that as well, Luke, if anyone wanted to reach out to me to speak or anything like that, I would be an open door to any of it. Quite a good show last night. I might put it up on the I might put it on my website so people can check it out. I noticed Justine, our good friend Justine, was there. I know I only noticed her comment. Her name came up in the chat, and I thought, oh, there's Justine, my good friend. So a pleasure to see her. Who else have we got in the hood? Of course, I'm here. Yeah, Phil is in the hood. At least I think I'm here, right? We'll go with that. Joining the dots, UK. Good to see you back again. A pleasure to have you tonight. Anyone else that I missed? Potentially, yeah. Knowing my track record. Oh, the beautiful Justine is here. And thank you again for joining the other night, right? Much appreciated. I hope you enjoyed the show. I always have a good laugh. Me and Alex, it's always quite a serious show, but we always get a laugh. So it works, right? If you don't laugh, then yeah, you're going to cry. Look at the world that we're in today. Complete insanity. The excess deaths now are, I mean, they were quite bad before, but they're even worse now. And people don't, a lot of people, they don't even care, to be honest. I mean, they didn't care. They didn't care when they got locked down. They cared more, I thought, which is interesting, about a book being changed, the Roald Dahl book. Not that I agree with any of that, certainly not. But it's typical as well. They cannot leave anything alone whatsoever. They have to change it, manipulate it. But I felt that the media, of course, and the sheeple, they made a big deal about that. Where's the big deal about all this stuff that's coming out now? All this stuff that we said 2 years ago is now coming out. And people don't care about that, though. Change a few words in a book, mayhem. I mean, what do you put that down to? Is the media, do they have that much control over how we react and what we do as a unit? But not many outlets seem to care. Not many big names seem to care. People kind of want to forget about what happened over the past 3 years. They want to put it behind them now. Sweep it under the carpet. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Yeah. Just forget it, right? No, 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 no. Not happening. We're not going to forget it. No chance. Well, God granted I'm not going to be forgetting. No way. And I'll be fighting as best as I can, put it that way. Jay Hart in the hood. Good to see Jay Hart back again. Who else have we got? I missed PJ. Good to see PJ back again. Dominic is in the hood. Good to see Dominic. Dave A back again. Good to see Davey. Crocodile Brummy as well. A pleasure to see you back again. I got a strike on my original channel. We're on 2 there. So I'm over here. I don't think you could be subscribed to my original channel. So you might want to get subscribed, right? Don't have me chasing you now. Now, but honestly, a lot of people they don't know that I do have the original channel. So check it out if you can. Crocodile Brummy. A pleasure to see you back again. And yeah, you make sure you do what you've got to do, right? Anyone that I missed, Wendy B. I can't miss Wendy. A pleasure to see Wendy back again. I think we might have got there. Might as well. Good to see Mike Mitt. Even good to see you back again. We'll go with that. Yeah, I reckon that could be it. Oh, Ian Marr is in the hood. Good to see Ian back again. A pleasure to have you. Yeah, we'll go with that, right? Because we're going to go now to. We're going back to the year 1979, right? And like I said, you're going to see a glimpse of what I felt was real journalism, or a glimpse of real journalism, at least. But you don't see it today, and you might see what I mean. Quite an interesting show, and it'll go along, coincide with the timeline that we're going to cover from the U.S. government, the go-to. And hey, I'm really hoping that we avoid getting a strike. But the potential is we're going to get one tonight. Maybe not tonight. In about 10 years' time, we'll get a strike for it. Who knows? Like I said, the video was from 2021. It's the longest I've had between the publishing of a video and receiving a strike. But there you go. I'm going to try and get it rescinded because I don't think it's correct. So we're not quite finished there yet, right? And remember, they tried to terminate me one time. It didn't happen. Well, it did, but we got back. They done it again, and we got back. If they do it again, what's the odds that we get back again? Anyone want to put on a wager? Put the money on the table, right? Honestly, that's why I've said in the past, whose channel is this? Is it my channel? Is it YouTube's channel? I kind of don't know anymore. So like I said, I continue doing what I do. If it's here, it's here. If we go elsewhere, we go elsewhere. We've already created the foundations for such events. So we're well prepared in that sense, and we're going to keep going. So back to 1979. Anyone remember it? Of course, I wasn't born then. It might be the only place to be. We have got the third backup just in case, and to be honest, I might draw the line at that. If we lose that one as well, what would be the point in continuing over on YouTube just to be constantly deleted? And I know some people say, well, just keep going, keep making new channels. You can still reach new people who would not be on Odyssey or whatever it may be. And I guess that is true. And we can only cross that bridge if if we get there. Hopefully we don't, right? But we'll see when the time comes. You never know. So it was a good year, seemingly. Toby, hello to Toby. Good evening to you, brother. Rich remembers it. The drugs were good, right? Not so much today, he says. Justine got married 1979. So I take it you remember it well. It was the best day of your life. Are we going to go with that? I think you might go with that, right? Let's say that. Anyone else remember it? Possibly not. Before my time, anyway. But that's where we're going to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the first clip. For a minute there, I thought I never had it, but I've got it. We're all good to go. So here it goes, and then I'll play the second. We'll discuss the video, and then we will look at the timeline, right? So here it goes.
The flu season is upon us. Which type will we worry about this year? And what kind of shots will we be told to take? Remember the swine flu scare of 1976? That was the year the U.S. government told us all that swine flu could turn out to be a killer that could spread across the nation. And Washington decided that every man, woman, and child in the nation should get a shot to prevent a nationwide outbreak, a pandemic. Well, 46 million of us obediently took the shot. And now 4,000 Americans are claiming damages from Uncle Sam amounting to $3.5 billion because of what happened when they took that shot. By far the greatest number of the claims, 2/3 of them, are for neurological damage or even death, allegedly triggered by the flu shot. We pick up the story back in 1976 when the threat posed by the swine flu virus seemed very real indeed.
This virus was the cause of a pandemic in 1918 and 1919 that resulted in over 500,000 deaths in the United States, as well as 20 million deaths around the world.
See how easy it is to...
Thus, the U.S. government's publicity machine was cranked into action to urge all America to protect itself against the swine flu menace.
Influenza is serious business. During major flu epidemics, millions of people are sick and thousands die. Well, this year you can get protection. The vaccines are safe, easy to take, and they can protect you against flu. So roll up your sleeve. Protect yourself.
One of those who did roll up her sleeve was Judy Roberts. She was perfectly healthy, an active woman, when in November of 1976, she took her shot. 2 weeks later, she says, she began to feel a numbness starting up her legs.
I joked about it at that time. I said I'll be numb to the knees by Friday if this keeps up. By the following week, I was totally paralyzed.
So completely paralyzed, in fact, that they had to operate on her to enable her to breathe. And for 6 months, Judy Roberts was a quadriplegic. The diagnosis? A neurological disorder called Guillain-Barré syndrome, GBS for short. These neurological diseases are little understood. They affect people in different ways. As you can see in these home movies taken by a friend, Judy Roberts' paralysis confined her mostly to a wheelchair for over a year. But this disease can even kill. Indeed, there are 300 claims now pending from the families of GBS victims who died, allegedly as a result of the swine flu shot. In other GBS victims, the crippling effects diminish and all but disappear. But for Judy Roberts, progress back to good health has been painful and partial.
Now, I noticed that your smile, Judy, is a little bit constricted.
Yes, it is.
Is it different from what it used to be?
Very different. I have a greatly decreased mobility in my lips. And I can't drink through a straw on the right-hand side. I can't blow out birthday candles. I don't whistle anymore, for which my husband is grateful.
It may be a little difficult for you to answer this question, but have you recovered as much as you are going to recover?
Yes, this is it.
So you will now have a legacy of braces on your legs for the rest of your life?
Yes, the weakness in my hands will stay, and the leg braces will stay.
So Judy Roberts and her husband have filed a claim against the U.S. government. They're asking $12 million, though they don't expect to get nearly that much.
Judy, why did you take the flu shot?
I'd never taken any other flu shots, but I felt like this was going to be a major epidemic. And the only way to prevent a major epidemic of a really deadly variety of flu was for everybody to be immunized.
Where did this so-called deadly variety of flu, where did it first hit back in 1976? It began right here at Fort Dix in New Jersey in January of that year when a number of recruits began to complain of respiratory ailments, something like the common cold. An Army doctor here sent samples of their throat cultures to the New Jersey Public Health Lab to find out just what kind of bug was going around here. One of those samples was from a Private David Lewis who had left his sickbed to go on a forced march. Private Lewis had collapsed on that march, and his sergeant had revived him by mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. But the sergeant showed no signs of illness. A few days later, Private Lewis died.
If this disease is so potentially fatal that it's going to kill a young, healthy man, a middle-aged school teacher doesn't have prayer.
The New Jersey lab identified most of those soldiers' throat cultures as the normal kind of flu virus going around that year, but they could not make out what kind of virus was in the culture from the dead soldier and from 4 others who were sick. So they sent those cultures to the Federal Center for Disease Control in Atlanta, Georgia, for further study. A few days later, they got the verdict: swine flu. But that much publicized outbreak of swine flu at Fort Dix involved only Private Lewis, who died, and those 4 other soldiers who recovered completely without the swine flu shot.
If I had known at that time that the boy had been in a sick bed, got up, went out on a forced march, and then collapsed and died, I would never have taken the shot.
The rationale for our recommendation was not on the basis of the death of a single individual, but it was on the basis that when we do see a change in the characteristics of the influenza virus, it is a massive public health problem in this country.
Dr. David Senser, then head of the CDC, the Center for Disease Control in Atlanta, is now in private industry. He devised the swine flu program, and he pushed it. You began to give flu shots to the American people in October of '76.
October 1st.
By that time, how many cases of swine flu around the world had been reported?
There had been several reported, but none confirmed. There had been cases in Australia that were reported by the press, by the news media. There were cases in...
None confirmed. Did you ever uncover any other outbreaks of swine flu anywhere in the world?
No.
Now, nearly everyone was to receive the shot in a public health facility where a doctor might not be present. Therefore, it was up to the CDC to come up with some kind of official consent form, giving the public all the information it needed about the swine flu shot. This form stated that the swine flu vaccine had been tested. What it didn't say was that after those tests were completed, the scientists developed another vaccine, and that was the one given to most of the 46 million who took the shot. That vaccine was called X53A. Was X53A ever field tested?
I can't say. I would have to...
It wasn't.
I don't know.
Well, I would think that you're in charge of the program.
I would have to check the records. I haven't looked at this in some time.
The information form, the consent form, was also supposed to warn people about any risks of serious complications following the shot. But did it?
No, I had never heard of any reactions other than a sore arm, fever, this sort of thing.
Judy Roberts' husband, Gene, also took the shot.
Yes, I looked at that document. I signed it. Nothing on there said I was going to have a heart attack or I can get Guillain-Barré, which I never heard of.
What if people from the government, from the Center for Disease Control, what if they had indeed known about it? What would be your feeling?
They should have told us.
Did anyone ever come to you and say, you know something, fellas? There's the possibility of neurological damage if you get into a mass immunization program?
No.
No one ever did?
No.
Do you know Michael Hatwick?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Dr. Michael Hatwick directed the surveillance team for the swine flu program at the CDC. His job was to find out what possible complications could arise from taking the shot and to report his findings to those in charge.
Did you know ahead of time, Dr. Hatwick, that there had been case reports of neurological disorders, neurological illness, apparently associated with the injection of influenza vaccine?
Absolutely.
You did?
Yes.
How'd you know that?
By review of the literature.
So you told your superiors, the men in charge of the swine flu immunization program, about the possibility of neurological disorders?
Absolutely.
What would you say if I told you that your superiors say that you never told them about the possibility of neurological complications?
That's nonsense. I can't believe that they would say that they did not know that there were neurological illnesses associated with influenza vaccination. That simply is not true. We did know that.
I've said that Dr. Hatwick has never told me of his feelings on this subject.
Then he's lying.
I guess you would have to make that assumption.
Then why does this report from your own agency, dated July 1976, list neurological complications as a possibility?
I think the consensus of the scientific community was that the evidence relating neurologic disorders to influenza immunization was such that they did not feel that this association was a real one.
You didn't feel it was necessary to tell the American people that information?
I think that over the years we have tried to inform the American people as fully as possible.
As part of informing Americans about the swine flu threat, Dr. Sensor's CDC also helped create the advertising to get the public to take the shot.
Let me read to you from one of your own agency's memos planning the campaign to urge Americans to take the shot. The swine flu vaccine has been taken by many important persons, he wrote. Example, President Ford, Henry Kissinger, Elton John, Muhammad Ali, Mary Tyler Moore, Rudolph Nureyev, Walter Cronkite, Ralph Nader, Edward Kennedy, etc., etc. True?
I'm not familiar with that particular piece of paper, but I do know that at least of that group, President Ford did take the vaccination.
Did you talk to these people beforehand to find out if they planned to take the shot?
I did not know.
Did anybody?
I do not know.
Did you get permission to use their names in your campaign?
I do not know.
Mary, did you take a swine flu shot?
No, I did not.
Did you give them permission to use your name saying that you had or were going to?
Absolutely not. Never did.
Did you ask your own doctor about taking the swine flu shot?
Yes, and at the time he thought it might be a good idea. But I resisted it because I was leery of having the symptoms that sometimes go with that kind of inoculation.
So you didn't?
No, I didn't.
Have you spoken to your doctor since?
Yes.
And?
He's delighted that I didn't take that shot.
You're in charge. Somebody's in charge.
This
is your advertising strategy that I have a copy of here.
Who's it signed by?
This one is unsigned. But you'll acknowledge that it was your baby, so to speak.
It could have been from Department of Health, Education, and Welfare. It could be from CDC. I don't know. I'll be happy to take responsibility for it.
It's been 3 years now since you fell ill with GBS, right?
Right.
Has the federal government, in your estimation, played fair with you about your claim?
No, I don't think so. It seems to be dragging on and on and on, and really no end in sight that I can see at this point.
With respect to the cases of Guillain-Barré, allegedly...
Former Secretary of HEW Joseph Califano, too, was disturbed that there was no end in sight. So a year and a half ago, he promised that Uncle Sam would cut the bureaucratic red tape for victims suffering from GBS and would pay up quickly.
We shouldn't hold them to an impossible or too difficult standard of proving that they were hurt. Even if we pay a few people a few $1,000s that might not have deserved it, I think justice requires that we promptly pay those people who do deserve it.
Who's making the decision to be so hard-nosed about settling?
Well, I assume the Justice Department is.
Griffin Bell before he left?
Well, the Justice Department agreed to the statement I made. It was cleared word for word with the lawyers in the Justice Department by my HEW lawyers.
And that statement said, in effect?
That statement said that we should pay Guillain-Barré claims without regard to whether the federal government was negligent if they resulted from the swine flu shot.
I think the government knows it's wrong.
If it drags out long enough, that people will just give up. Let it go.
I am a little more adamant in my thoughts than my wife is, because I told Judy to take the shot. She wasn't going to take it, and she never had shots. And I'm mad with my government because they knew the facts, but they didn't release those facts because if they had released them, the people wouldn't have taken it. And they can come out tomorrow and tell me there's going to be an epidemic, and they can drop off like flies next to me. I will not take another shot that my government tells me to take.
Meantime, Judy Roberts and some 4,000 others like her are still waiting for their day in court.
So, yeah, they're I shouldn't laugh, but they're probably still waiting for their day in court, to be honest. Let's face it, right? I wonder how they got on. So, where do you even start with that? Honest to God. And you can see what I mean by there's nothing new under the sun whatsoever. They pull the same trick again and again and again. And I'm kind of hoping I won't get a strike for that video. I might get one for something that I say, but that video, it's already on YouTube quite a few different times, and it's been seen quite a lot. Some people might have seen it, I'd imagine. Some people maybe not, right? So I thought I'd show it because it kind of, I thought it's good to show that and then maybe cover the article. Originally, I was only going to cover the document, but the video, I couldn't not show it, to be honest. Quite staggering. You had the American president. I'm hoping the audio's okay. Can we get a quick audio check? I see Michelle and sent some. Our brother sent some. I used music by sent some in the intro. Some of you might have heard it. I don't think Sensum was here. He'd have been live at the time. So we're all good with the audio, Justine. Much appreciated. We're all good. Wait a sec. So we're back again. Sorry. Typical, right? Checking the audio and then no audio. What happened? I had to go and check. We're back again. So we're not muted anymore. We're back. So the video itself, I mean, I'm forgetting the president's name. Is it Ford? President Ford, the American president at the time. What did he say in the interview? Oh, there was a pandemic in 1918 and 1919. Oh, dun, dun, dun. And it's back again. Right. And it killed 500,000 people in America. Oh, he said million. So that gave the fear, of course, right? You don't want that. Best get inoculated. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So he then said it killed 20 million people across the world. I shouldn't laugh. He may as well have said, and it killed 100 billion people. And people would have still bought it. Oh, quick, run to the abattoir. Down the road. Sound effects today, right? So he said, what else did he say? It killed 500,000 in the US. That's what he said. I wonder where he got the figures for that. And I wonder what kind of testing they done, right? Yeah. How many confirmed cases? I don't think there was even any confirmed cases to begin with by the sounds of it. But of course they sent the super duper what's the word I'm looking for? The samples that they had, I can't think of the word. They sent them to the CDC. And did you see the guy? I mean, yeah, that's a guy you would trust, right? Very trustworthy looking guy, him. And they seem to confirm, yes, it is indeed that damn swine. Shock horror. Of course, yeah. You can take it from them, right? But one guy seemingly died in America from it in 1976 at the military base Fort Dix. And you would have heard in the video, the news presenter said, oh, it was something like the common cold. Huh. Yeah. That's completely bizarre, that, right? It was just like the common cold, he said. Like Groundhog Day. So it was like the common cold, but remember, 1918, 1919, don't forget, right? I'm sure everyone remembers that. So the guy passed away. Seemingly the guy passed away. He got revived. They took him back to life with mouth-to-mouth, seemingly, resuscitation. So he got revived, but then he died days later. And they put that down to swine flu. And then declared in America it was a pandemic and everyone in America needed to be immunized. So there was in that video, I reckon, a wee bit of real journalism, which is non-existent today, where they ask the right question and put people on the spot. They don't show you it today. And they created, I've got to watch what I'm saying here as well. They had a super duper inoculation, but they never even used it, or they reverted to a different inoculation called X53A, which by the sounds of it never even got tested at all. And they rolled it out to immunize, in the hope of immunizing every American. And by the sounds of it, nearly 50 million people took it up, felt the need to take it up. I bet you a lot of them watched the adverts that we seen, right? John brought it home from the office. He gave it to his wife. He gave it to his kids. Now everyone's passed away. Quick, get your inoculation. And it worked a trick. It worked a wonder back then. And it worked one today. Still today. And I mean, you've got the information all coming out now in the UK. Oh, is my bag going to fall? Possibly. Oh, there it goes. It's all right. But it's all coming out in the UK. And It's no surprise. They're drip feeding it. But they're telling us everything that we already knew. Of course, they're telling you stuff that we told you, that we told people about 2 years ago. So I don't know. I don't know what to make of it, but we will probably get into the leaking of these text messages or whatever it is. And I've said for years, when it comes to documents or information being called what they being leaked by the press, in my view, is some form of conditioning. And I've said that. Some of you might remember. I said that years ago. Nothing ever gets leaked by accident. Don't be fooled. You cannot trust the media one bit. They play you like a fiddle, basically. And now I reckon we're seeing a prime example of what I was trying to get at. They're going to drip it out bit by bit. And they could say anything, basically. And the guy Hancock looks like he could be the fall guy. They usually put up a fall guy to take the blame. And people think, oh, he's got thrown under the bus. Yeah, don't buy that either. There will be a fall guy. I'm unsure if it's going to be him. There could be a few of them that they say, look, we sorted it all out. It's fine now. Look, you can't trust the government, but don't worry. We have the solution. What could it be? What's it going to be? Of course, we know what it's going to be. It's going to be a one world government. Like a super duper organization, like the WHO. The WHO? Yeah, the WHO. One of the biggest criminal organizations going, right? So what else did they mention in the video? Seemingly, and it comes as no surprise, seemingly they knew about the effects it could cause, but they thought it was a better idea not to tell anyone. And I shouldn't laugh, but of course, yeah. Why would you tell them? Because if you told them, they wouldn't fucking take it. So you don't tell them, right? But they knew, at least going by what the doctor said. The interesting sort of looking guy. He looked like a psycho. I thought, oh, here's a psycho, but he sounded like he was being honest. Whereas the guy from the CDC, yeah, you wouldn't trust that guy. Put it that way. And in that video as well, I mean, it's so like today. It's a carbon copy of what we got in 2020, 2021. I mean, it was worse. We went through a lot worse than that. It was a stepping stone, a dummy run to an extent. They've had a few of them. They're a bit like live exercises to an extent. That's probably the best way I can describe it. Incoming strike. A live military exercise, right? We'll go with that. You'll notice in that video, there's a lady that got interviewed, and she said she went to the doctor, and the doctor said, "Oh yeah, get the shot, right? Get the juice." 1918, 1919, 20 million people. Right? The body's in Wuhan. Yeah. So get the shot. Don't worry about the side effects. Guillain-Barré, that's nonsense. Don't be silly. No one's even heard of it. Yeah, at least up until that point, I reckon the majority of America had never, ever heard of Guillain-Barré syndrome. No way. But they certainly knew about it from 76 onwards, or since the campaign, if you like. So her doctor said, yeah, get it. Go and get it. Be a good wee girl. Be a good wee citizen. And go and get your shot. Protect the world. Yeah, you know how it goes. You've seen it. They tried it on us, but it didn't work. And I'm proud of that fact. Honestly, I am. I walk with my head held high. I really do. And I'll keep going. But she then went back to the doctor. And what did he say? Oh, I'm glad you never took it. Oh, fucking hell. Fuck. Honest to God. I reckon I might have, yeah. I might have had a few things to say to a doctor who recommended that to me. And then, given what happened, I mean, it shows you what you could be walking into. Go into what you believe is a trustworthy, honest person, a doctor, who's there to look out for you, there to care for you, there for your health, your benefit. Yeah. In what world is that? It's not in this world, right? It is not here. And I had seen that clip before of the lady saying, "Oh yeah, he told me to get it. I went back and he said, oh, I'm glad you never got it." Man. I think if that happened to me, I'd say, right, that's enough. I'll deal with my own health from now on. Thank you, right? That'll do. So we'll jump away from the video for the time being. We might get back to it. I want to take you to the article. Well, it's a document. Some of you, oh bugger, what am I doing? Typical. Some of you might have seen it. I've never seen it. Well, I have now, obviously, but I hadn't seen it before. I only came across it the other day. And I stumbled across it when I was researching Cannon Air Force Base and the faking of the the recording of what they call the moon landing, right? So it's funny how you I mean, they don't call it rabbit holes for nothing, right? You go down one route and you pop up in 1976 looking at the swine flu plandemic. So we've got Bart Sibrel to thank for tonight's show, I guess. And if you've not read Bart's book, Moon Man, I recommend that you do. We're going to get Bart back on. Actually, the video that I done with Bart, it got a strike as well. It got a strike about a year ago. I'll maybe put it on the website because it's a great interview. I'm going to get Bart on again, hopefully soon, right? Because I've got a lot to cover. I really do reckon the guy Robert Emenegger is the guy who recorded it, and that's going to annoy people. It's Kubrick! It can't be anyone else! It must be Kubrick! I don't know, his name's not on the list. Emenegger ticks so many boxes it kind of can only be him. There's so much that points him and puts him in that place and points to him being the person, not Schwarzenegger, Robert Emmenegger. And I always feel like I'm going to get arrested when I say his name. He said the N-word. You can't say anything in Scotland now. Honest to God, what a world we're in. So, let me see if I can work the screen. And we'll jump across to the document. I keep calling it an article. You know what I mean, right? You've all been here before. You know the story. You know the script. And I hope everyone's doing okay. We might jump in the chat as well for a bit. And we will, hopefully, at the end. Do you know this? I'm hoping not to go too late, but you never know, right? We're here anyway. We're going to go. We're going to cover what we can. So let me see. Where is the bloody... There it is. So we're going... Where we're going is to... Anyone know? The National Library of Medicine. National Centre for Biotechnology Information. The go-to. The NIH. Straight from the horse's mouth, right? The American government themselves. So let me see if I can screen share. Let me... Entire screen. We'll go with that. Share. Are we rolling? Yeah, we're cooking by gas. So good evening to everyone tonight. Let me quickly just say hello. What did I do there? There we go. Justine, good to see Justine still on the go. PJ, still here. Carmel, back again. Good to see Carmel still here. Katie Kane in the hood. Good to see Katie. Anyone else that I missed? I don't think so. I think we're all good, right? I appreciate everyone joining tonight. So, I better get rid of the comment. It'll be in the way. Typical that, right? What have I done now? Honest to God. Get them off. Someone can take over. Is Sensum still here? He can take over. I think, is it, I can't remember. Is it Rich? Crocodile Brummy? I'm forgetting. I think his name might be Rich, but I've not done an open panel in a while. And the last time I done it, you got me a strike. It was you or playing Steve, probably me, to be fair. But I did enjoy doing the open panel shows that I done. I really did. I really enjoyed it. It was quite risky, to be honest. It was quite a risky one, but it was always good to see people come forward and be open and honest and share their life experiences. So we might do it again, right? It was good crack. But you are on thin ice when you open the door to everyone. I mean, tonight we probably will get a strike, to be honest. Hey, touch wood that we don't, but you never know. And Gary's in the hood. A pleasure to see Gary back again. Thank you for coming tonight. So we'll make it the full screen. Make it grow, she said, because I'm going to be blind, right? We're jumping to, like I said, the National Library of Medicine. Yeah. Let me get this. I need to be sure. We're good to go. We're rolling. We're in the hood. And we're all good. What I'll do is I'll switch that off. See, because I'm in a different room, it's a nightmare. I reckon I'm going to need to get some kind of studio. If only, right? If only. So, the National Centre for Biotechnology Information. Right. The swine flu affair. He said the name. The swine flu affair. Decision making on a slippery disease? Huh? A slippery disease. Right. I'm unsure what that is, to be honest. Anybody? Does anybody know? I'm unsure. I guess a slippery disease is the swine flu. So, has anyone ever seen this document? An official American government document. Here's how you know it ends in .gov. It's official. You don't get any more official, right? How can we get a strike? We probably will. So, January of 1976 is where we start. And Dr. Bruce Dull. Right. Assistant Director for Programs of the CDC submits a memo to HEW Secretary David Matthews sent via the CDC for health, sent via CDC Director Dr. David Sensor and Assistant HEW Secretary for Health Dr. Theodore Cooper. Dull states that liability problems may drive vaccine manufacturers out of business. Huh? And recommends that the Secretary support legislation to indemnify the manufacturers or to compensate all victims of this super duper juice. Right. So, day one, basically, in the timeline. And what is the concern? How will we compensate? Compensate what? Well, the people that get affected, of course. Not by swine flu, but by the juice itself. And to such a great extent, they reckoned it would bankrupt Big Pharma. So they needed to put stuff into place, create legislation, create the protection, right? Yeah. You can see who they care about, not us, that is for sure. Sorry. I had to check on my kids there. So, where did we get to there? Typical, right? Who would even have children? Honest to God. So, mid-January, large number of cases of respiratory disease are reported among Army recruits at Fort Dix, New Jersey. Walter Reed Army Laboratory identifies adenovirus as cause of early outbreak of respiratory disease at Fort Meade, MD. Right. So possibly what could be the common cold. Right. Donald Carmody, a staff officer for Cooper in the Public Health Service, writes memo to his superior in the Office of Policy Development and Planning, emphasizing the problems in the Dole proposal and suggesting that it be sent to Cooper without recommendation. Right. Colonel Joseph Bartley, Chief of Prevention Medicine at Fort Dix, reports outbreak of illness presumed due to adenovirus to local health department. So it's been reported. A couple of the recruits are ill, if you like. I'd imagine that would have been nothing new, surely. Dr. Martin Goldfield, director of the New Jersey Public Health Laboratory, contacts Bartley, gets briefing on the outbreak of the disease, suspects influenza, and requests that throat washings be sent to the New Jersey State Laboratory. Right. So, you've got a few guys that are not well, and they reckon that it's basically influenza. They might have the flu, could be the common cold. But that's not good enough. They want samples sent. Washings, throat washings have to be sent because they need to be tested, right? Because they'll then tell us what it is. Yeah. So they send them off. Eight of them in total. Which is interesting. I don't think there was 8 people who seemingly had it. So I'm unsure how that makes sense, but there you go. So they sent them away. They then got 11 additional samples. Obviously needing more testing. I wonder what rigorous forms of testing they used back then. Into February, at the NJ lab, 11 isolates are made from the 19 throat washings sent by Bartley from Fort Dix. Most of these are identifiable as A. Victoria or A. Port Chalmers virus, but scientists are unable to identify 2 of the isolates and unsure about 5 others. So, Goldfield sends these 7 onto the CDC. Aha, yeah. And calls CDC's Dr. Gray Noble to report his findings. Yeah, I bet he did. I bet he did. So, they were unsure. Oh, we don't know. It could be this. We think it could be that. I know what we'll do. We'll send it to the go-to, the ever-trustworthy, the only one, the holy grail of medicine, the CDC. Ah, okay. And then they'll decide what it is. They'll tell us. Hooray, right? Hip, hip, hooray. So, after leaving his sick bed and making a forced 5-mile night march. Private David Lewis, Fort Dix recruit collapses and dies. And by the video that we've seen, there's a bit more to it than that, which is not a surprise there. They left out the fact that he got resuscitated and then died a few days later. I dread to imagine what kind of shadiness has went on there, to be honest, because it won't be what they tell us. No way. Look at what they've done. Look at what they've hid in order to trick people. And look at that poor lady, paralyzed. And some people might have even said she was one of the lucky ones, because some of them were not so lucky. The 7 isolates mailed from New Jersey laboratory arrive at CDC's Bureau of Laboratories. I'm assuming the number is the date. Yeah, it must be. Check me, the brains, right? What's this number? I think it's a number. Yeah, we'll go with that. It's the date of the month. Of course it is. So also that day, the same day then, the very same day, they've confirmed that 5 of the 7 New Jersey isolates are A. Victoria and other 2 appear to be influenza, but do not type as A. Victoria. Right. On the same day as well. So they got it in the mail that day, and then it took one day to test it. I don't know if I can buy that, to be honest. But there you go. So the 10th of February, New Jersey laboratory sends to CDC 2 more unidentifiable isolates from Fort Dix. Here's more washings. One of them taken from the deceased Lewis, NJ. New Jersey laboratory finds soluble influenza A arbutin in 1 unidentified isolate. Right. So they took a sample from the dead guy, seemingly. The 11th of February, CDC receives the second group of isolates. 12th of February, double immunodiffusion confirms 2 original untyped viruses are a type of influenza A. Oh man, they can't give us any easy ones. I'm not sure even what that is. Hemagglutinin. Anyone ever had hemagglutinin? Oh man. Tests indicate 4 of the Fort Dix isolates contain swine flu type hemagglutinin. Let's go with that. So they've confirmed it. The CDC confirmed it as what they call, we'll go with swine flu, right? I think we'll stick with that. So the CDC made the call. The cry was swine flu. Shock horror. So the 12th of February, the same day, Goldfield telephones virologist Dr. Edwin Kilbourne of MT Sinai Hospital in New York City with the news that he possesses a virus he cannot type. Kilbourne asks Goldfield to send him some specimens. Right. I can't type it. It just won't type. It won't compute. I can't sequence it. What is this? Send it to me. I'll tell you what it is. The good guys, of course, right? So, New Jersey lab mails quantity of the Fort Dix virus to Kilbourne. Scientists at CDC confirm that the isolates are indeed swine flu type A viruses. At censor's request, Dr. Walter Dowdell, head of the CDC's labs, notifies scientists and health officials across the country, sound the alarm, of the swine discovery and invites them to a meeting at the CDC the next day. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah. Inform the town crier. The cry is that nasty swine. So again, it would appear the CDC made the call. They were the guys that made the call. Yet when you go back to the interview, the head of the CDC was unable to tell us if the vaccine was even tested. He didn't know, because the answer is it probably wasn't. Or it was, but we never seen it. We never got to see any study. This time around, they did do what they called a study. And they have done ones on mRNA in the past. What did they use again? Mice and ferrets, I believe. Not even humans. Of course, that came later. 2020. But even if you look at them, horrid, terrible, shocking. How many of the juiced actually looked at it? I bet you hardly any of them did. Which is, in my view, stupidity. Complete stupidity. And that's coming from me. I mean, it is there. I can't remember. I'd be paraphrasing what happened in the study, but it was not good. The testing that they did claim to do, how long did it last? A couple of months, if that. Oh, it's good to go now. Safe and effective was the cry. Yeah, of course. Look at where we are now. Yeah. So, the 14th of February, emergency meeting is held at the CDC to discuss the Fort Dix findings. In attendance are representatives of the Army, the New Jersey Department of Health, the FDA's Bureau of Biologies, the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, the CDC, of course, the whole crew by the looks of it. And they discuss need to develop a wonder juice, a super duper vaccine. Yeah, because the body's in Wuhan, right? I mean, the guy at Fort Dix. Yeah, that one guy. So immediately, the plan is to inoculate. Day one, pretty much, let's face it. They're talking about trying to protect Big Pharma. You can see, again, who they care about. They're on television telling you it's for your benefit. While behind the scenes, they're protecting the only people they want to protect, which is the Big Pharma entities. The people that pay them, of course. It's quite funny in the UK. You tend to hear quite a lot. We pay the politicians. Yeah, by the way, not quite. People kind of think that. They don't make their... We pay them to an extent, but they don't make their millions from us. Oh, no, no, no. They certainly don't make that from us. The ones that become millionaires, of course, a lot of them they're cut from a certain cloth, if you like. Born into the billionaire life, like the guy, Rishi Sunak, the Asian British Prime Minister. I dread to imagine what he's going to do to the UK. Hey, if people thought it was bad just now, you're gonna want to buckle up. Honest to God. Do you know they're gonna drag us down into the world they want, no matter what. They're building it already. And the question is, do you want to fight against it, or do you want to go with it? I know what I'll be doing for sure. So they're going to push it no matter what. So whatever happens, in my view, we're going to be taking 2 steps back. It could potentially be the only way we go forward. And I think this decade is going to be critical. And if it's not now, it's going to be never, I'd imagine. So we keep going, right? We're never going to give up. And by doing shows like this, covering the lies, the sleekedness, the outright criminality, it might bloody give people a bit of a shake, right? I mean, we already know the ins and outs of a hidden hand plandemic. But there's a lot of people out there who don't. And we need to remember that we're not giving up on them either. I certainly won't be. All right? God granted. As long as I've got the strength to carry on, to keep going. So where did we get to there? The emergency meeting. So the 14th to the 16th, CDC reconfirms isolation and identification of swine flu virus from original throat swabs brought from New Jersey Health Department. Right. So, couldn't confirm it the first time around, but we confirmed it the second time around. The original, and it is most Definitely. It's been isolated and everything. It is indeed the swine. Shock horror. Cue the propaganda. Joe brought it home from his office. Then he gave it to his wife. Then they gave it to the daughters. Then they gave it to the school kids. And then on and on and on. And then, yes, of course, everyone's in hospital. Yeah. So it's not taken long. If you look at the time there, the timeline, it didn't take long for them to confirm it's swine flu, right? And of course, the CDC, you can trust them. They're the good guys. Let's go with that. So we went from January into what, mid-February, and it's confirmed. Yep, swine flu. Roll out the pandemic. 16th again. Censor. I keep wanting to say Spencer. My mind, right? Censor and is it Dowdle? I don't think it is, but we're going to go with that. Inform Dr. Charles Cockburn, insert joke, of the World Health Organization. Ah, yeah. Of course, them guys, yeah. Give it to Mr. Cockburn at the WHO. The place to go. The go-to. So they give it to Dr. Cockburn of the WHO of swine virus findings, right? And they inform the whole world. They put out the smoke signal. Whoosh, it's swine flu. The 17th of February, still February, Kilburn receives samples of the virus mailed from New Jersey. His lab begins to develop a fast-growing recombinant for use in a vaccine. Right. So they're going to develop it in the laboratory. Great, right? The 18th, CDC notifies state health officials. It is indeed swine flu. Of course it is. 19th of February, the CDC calls a press conference. It's rolling out now like clockwork, lockstep. You could line it up, I bet you, with the the one that we all went through, and it would match up pretty much the same, I bet. What would be the chances? So they call up a press conference, right? So you know they mean business. And the guy Dull announces swine virus has been discovered at Fort Dix. Makes no reference to the 1918 pandemic in his prepared remarks, but does in a response to a question from a reporter. Of course, yeah. I wonder. Yeah. So he never mentioned it in his speech, but someone asked him, what about the 1918 pandemic? Oh, yeah, of course, yeah. We don't want to be having that again. Millions and billions and billions of people, they died. So we don't want it. Inoculation would be the only option, I guess. So the 20th of February, First media coverage of swine flu focuses on CDC's announcement of the previous day. Yeah, I bet it did. Coverage links Fort Dix virus to the 1918 pandemic. Yeah. Huh. Fitting that, right? Of course it is. So we'll go to the 20th of February. BOB hosts open workshop in Bethesda, Maryland, with representatives from the Armed Forces Epidemiological Board. Let's go with that. The Epidemiological Board. We'll go with that. The NTAID, CDC, the press, the scientific community, yeah, the whole gang, Scooby-Doo, the lot, Fred Flintstone, you name it. And all 4 vaccine manufacturing companies. Yeah, don't forget them, right? Conference discusses preparations for swine flu immunization campaign. Second meeting held in the afternoon to discuss surveillance plans. What? Wait, what? What happened there? How did we jump from an immunization campaign to discussing surveillance plans? Right. Okay. The 20th, again, quantities of Fort Dix virus delivered to vaccine manufacturers. Yeah, the key ingredient. But virus grows poorly in their laboratories. Oh dear. Interesting. Companies await Kilbourne's recombined strain and some work on preparing their own. Don't worry about it. We don't need it. We don't need your poorly growing virus. We don't need it. No. We've got this, right? I've got to watch what I'm saying here. This is dangerous territory now. I mean, we've been on dangerous territory since we started tonight. But I mean, this is comical already, right? I mean, honestly. So let's just read that again. Quantities of Fort Dix virus delivered to vaccine manufacturers, but virus grows poorly in the lab. Companies await Kilbourne's recombined strain, and some of them work on preparing their own. Right. Of course. I might try it myself, right? We should maybe, just in case. Because you never know what strain it's going to be. Yeah. We might come back to that one, right? The 20th to the 26th. CDC alerts state epidemiologists in nationwide search for other cases of swine flu. We need to find more, because then it's a plandemic, right? Besides earlier cases in Minnesota and Wisconsin, I can never say that properly, already known to CDC, the investigation turns up other isolate occurrences in Pennsylvania, Virginia, and Mississippi. Although All but a questionable Virginia case involved human-pig contact. Right. So this time around, it's not a bat out of hell. It's not bat soup. This time, it's bacon rolls that done it. Right. So it jumped from a wee piglet then. Huh. So is there pigs at the Fort Dix Army barracks? I kind of doubt it. How did it get there? I don't know. I don't think anyone knows, to be honest. Let's face it. So they're going with human to pig. Sorry, pig to human. If you buy that, yeah, I guess you'd buy pretty much anything the CDC would tell you. Personally, I struggle to buy it. I really do. This animal to human situation. But hey, what do I know? The place you've got to go is the WHO, the World Health Organization, the CDC, the British government. Hooray! We are not worthy. Yeah, let's go with that, right? So let me know what you think about the where's my bloody cup went? I can't see. There it goes. Let me know what you think about the animal to human situation. It's an interesting one. So the 27th of February, we're bloody, I need to kind of speed up. I just can't. Informal meetings are held at B.O.B. Censor Dildo Mayor, Seal and Noble. Review status of swine flu investigation and discuss candidates for vaccine strain. Vaccine strain. Right. Yeah, because they're cooking it up in the laboratory, like they said. The U.S. government, remember, this came from. I've not made it up. I'm not making it up. Imagine, right? You couldn't make it up, man. Honest to God, you could not make it up. So we go into March 1976. Or maybe it's March 2020. The 1st to the 9th of March, Army conducts serosurveys at Fort Dix, while CDC does the same in surrounding civilian populations. Army estimates as many as 500 recruits at Fort Dix may have been exposed to swine flu. Right. Exposed to it. That's it. Not infected. Not suffered from it. Not died from it. Not anything like that. Just they may have been exposed. They may have been exposed. That's what they estimate anyway. So they're testing. Test everyone. Quickly, test all the population round about. We'll find it one way or another. Yeah, I bet they will, right? I am trying to watch what I'm saying, Wendy, but it's hard. It's hard to self-censor yourself. And I don't like it. I hate it. I don't like it. We're going to have to box clever, I guess. Potentially, we've already said something, but I'll try my best, right? I'll try my best to avoid getting put into prison again. Then we will be on the website and Talbanoki free, which has got about 100, 200 maybe subscribers at the moment. It'll be like old times. It'll be me and some old guy and his dog doing a live stream. Ah, the days, right? So, let me see. Where are we going to now? There's certainly some that I feel is worth pointing out. Again, in the 9th of February, they're discussing stockpiling. And that kind of rings a bell. I'm sure, did they not say they still had certain strains of vaccines from then that they could use today? I'm sure I read that somewhere. I'd have to look it up. So they want to stockpile, yeah, because all the people that died, right? I'm trying to find. There's a few more that I want to point out. The 10th of February. No, bugger. At an open meeting in Atlanta, the CDC briefs the ACIP on the results of its preliminary investigations. ACIP members concur in need for major action. We must have action now. 500 people got exposed to it. One guy seemingly died. One guy seemingly died from it. But action must be taken. Support production of vaccine and formulation of a plan to administer. Stockpiling option is briefly mentioned. Afterwards, Sensor telephones Cooper in Washington and summarizes the meeting. Yeah, I bet he did. They bought it. That's what he said. On the 12th of February, the AFEB holds a meeting at Walter Reed Army Institute of Research to determine vaccine formulation for the military. Board recommends that swine component be incorporated into trivalent vaccine along with A Victoria and B Hong Kong. What? Right. I mean, honest to God, where do you even start with that? So they incorporated this swine component into the juice, along with A Victoria and B Hong Kong. Yeah, because that's what gets the body going. Then it knows, right? It can fight it in the future. Trust me, I'm a doctor. Yeah. Hey, personally, I would not go anywhere near anything like this. Not for anything in the world. No way. I'd rather see myself out. Put it that way. It is a hill. it is a hill that I am well and truly prepared to lie on. Put it that way. So they're working their magic, their big pharma Kia magic with the A Victoria, B Hong Kong swine components. Yeah, super duper juice. Shake it all up. Quick fire, inoculate it. Yeah. What's the worst that could happen? So they start a program. They form a program of implementation. Yeah. Lockstep. The 15th of March, at Secretary's morning staff meeting, Dixon, briefed by censor, summarises swine flu problem. Dixon, censor and mayor meet with Matthews for further discussion of problem. Censor recommends mass immunisation. Mass immunisation. Mass immunisation. One person. I know one person's life is more than enough. Don't get me wrong. But when you're talking about inoculating on a mass scale, how many people do you reckon died because of the mass inoculation? Does anyone know what the figure is? Someone can maybe let us know, right? Robert, good to see Robert in the hood, and my good friend Bandy Boo. A pleasure to see you from down under. Yeah, much appreciated, Robert. Take care. Good stuff. So, the 15th again. President Ford, that guy who we seen at the beginning, who seemingly got inoculated on television. And again, seemingly Muhammad Ali, all these different celebrities and figures got inoculated. Similar to what happened in 2020, remember? 2021. Of course, we don't forget. And basically, we got a carbon copy. And people bought it again. Oh, Muhammad Ali had it. It'll be great. It must be okay. President Ford got it. And it was on television. Yep, it's okay. Totally safe. Go with that. So President Ford first hears of swine flu program from Lynn and Paul O'Neill, Deputy Director of OMB, along with James, Deputy Director of the Domestic Council, in afternoon meetings on other subjects. Right. Oh, man. Censor telephones ACIP members to advise them of program specifies as set forth. Program specifics as set forth in his action memorandum, invites their comments and gets unanimous assent. Yeah. Right. I'm trying to see where the guy went to. Egypt. I must have missed it. We might come back to that one, right? Yeah. So the 22nd of March, we're into now. The president meets with Matthews, Cooper and Dixon from HEW, Lynn and O'Neill from OMB, and Kavanagh Kavanagh? I don't know. I am terrible with names. James Cannon, Richard Cheney, and Spencer Johnson from the White House to discuss swine virus findings. Mass vaccination program is recommended to the president, but he postpones decision until he meets with leading scientists. Schedules meeting for the 24th. I wonder what could be the outcome, right? So the 24th of March. President meets bugger. President meets at White House with, quote, blue ribbon, close quote. Fucking hell. So he meets with Blue Ribbon. That's the code name, I guess. They are the panel of experts. Right. The super duper scientists then, including Dr. Jonas Salk. Right, we're back. We're back again. We're back again, sorry. Typical, right? Where did I get to there? So, yeah, Operation Blue Ribbon, the panel of experts. The president meets with them, and the president goes before television cameras to announce that he is recommending a mass vaccination program for all Americans and urges that Congress immediately pass a special $135 million appropriation. Afterwards, Matthews and Cooper conduct a press conference. I mean, honest to God, that it kind of feels like Groundhog Day when I'm reading it out. It's like, wait a minute, March 25th, 2020? Oh, no, right, 1976. Ooh, what have I done? There we go. There we go. So the money's there straight away. But I'm struggling to see where the concern is. Where's the pandemic? Where's the concern? I'm struggling to see it. I know that one guy, okay, but one guy and 4 people who fell ill with what got described as the common cold. Hardly, in my view, cause for huge concern on a national scale to an extent where you would spend hundreds of millions of dollars in paying Big Pharma to inoculate the masses. I mean, it's complete insanity. Shock horror, right? So we'll jump to now, the 24th. CDC initiates work on a, quote, PERT, P-E-R-T, close quote, a PERT chart plotting out steps and relationships in the swine flu program. So they have a blueprint then. PERT. Anyone heard of the PERT chart? No? You might want to look it up, right? You might want to check it out, just in case it comes back again. it could come it could come back, right? Get your chart out. We might have to look that out, see if we can get a look at it. So they've set up a task force. Does that sound familiar? For a national influenza immunization program. Hooray for your safety! Bodies in Wuhan. I mean, the one guy at Fort Dix, right? Yeah. So they're rolling it out. They're prepping. They've got troops in place. Inoculation on standby. They're all cooking it up. All these companies, psychopaths ready to make, if you pardon the pun, an absolute killing. So by the end of, actually, yeah, we were in March there. By April, are they rolling it out by April? Right. The 25th of March. BOB hosts open workshop. Again. The CDC, Scooby-Doo, the whole gang, they're there. The Veterans Administration are there. University investigators are there. University who the hell are they? Honest to God. That'll be Bill Gates, right? And drug company representatives, among others. Group reviews developments relevant to program. Vaccine trials discussed. Right. So vaccine trials discussed. 25th of March. Right, so we'll jump from there to the 1st of April. We know what day that is, right? The 1st of April. Senate Labour and Public Welfare Subcommittee on Health holds hearing on swine flu programme. Right. We're back again. My daughter, yeah, my family, my daughter comes first, of course, but she's a chancer because she should be in her bed. But my wife is on the case. She's better at sorting them out than me. Typical, right? So, we're talking about trials, at least. They mentioned it. We discussed it. I guess that we can take that as something. Yeah, sure. So we're into April. They've got the money. The money is there. I wonder who put it up. Rockefeller, by any chance? I would imagine so. Again, they mention or consider stockpiling, but also what they have called, in their words, and they seemingly wanted to avoid the use of it, scare tactics. Yeah, yeah. I bet they tried to avoid that, right? Don't be scaring anyone into it now. Yeah. Don't want to be doing that. I'm sure they never done that. They wouldn't do that. Surely not. So we're into, are we still in April? Yeah, we're still in April. 1976. The 7th of April. Why is this computer being an absolute nightmare? So the Veterans Administration gives CDC the authority to negotiate and administer vaccine contracts for VA staff and patients. Excuse me, burping live on air. So they went for the veterans first, by the looks of it, and the staff. And they requested 1.5 million doses. Money, money, money. Yeah. Does anyone know much about the Veterans Administration in America? Is it still on the go? I doubt it now, if they all got bloody that shot. So the 7th to the 8th, who holds meeting with consultants from 15 countries? Huh? There's a global pandemic now. It's a global pandemic. One guy, 4 dicks. 4 people, runny nose. So 15 countries. Conference to discuss implications of swine outbreak and recommend that worldwide surveillance be increased. What? Worldwide surveillance. The WHO recommend. Because of what they called the swine flu outbreak at Fort Dix. Worldwide surveillance. I wonder what that would entail, right? So they recommended that worldwide surveillance be increased, that poorer nations devise contingency plans, and that countries with production capability decide for themselves whether or not to produce swine flu vaccination. Right. So they gave countries with the capability the option. Oh yeah, you can make your own. Yeah, go for it. Knock yourself out. Run with it. We'll give you the blueprint. Yeah. So we'll jump now to the 8th again. An unidentified senior official of the federal insurance company Chubb. I think we've all heard of that company, right? Surely. Advises corporate headquarters of Merck. I reckon everyone's heard of Merck as well. The parent company of Merck, Sharp and Dome? We'll go with Dome. One of the vaccine manufacturers, that effective July 1st, it will exclude from Merck's product liability coverage all indemnity and defense costs associated with claims arising out of the swine flu program. Now, what did the guys say in the video? We didn't know. We didn't know. We never knew. We never knew. Right, okay. But they knew, they wanted liability coverage for any damage that may occur. They knew they would be compensating people to an extent that could see them go bankrupt. How did they know that? What would have caused that? Of course, it would have been diseases like GBS, in the worst cases, death, deceased, toes up, breed. And that occurred as well. How anyone can have any trust in any government official whatsoever is beyond me, to be honest. So they get all the authorization, they pass it through, it gets approved. Sounds familiar, right? Emergency! Quickly run it through. They announce they're going to begin a national influenza immunization program. Hooray! I bet there was cheers right across America. Thank goodness, they said, right? Mayor sends memo to Cooper in which he estimates production timetable for vaccine. Says manufacturers will begin to produce in June and should be able to turn out 24 to 30 million doses per month, provided they are able to get 2 doses per egg. Right. I mean, I don't even know where to begin with that one, to be honest. How did we jump from a sequence to an egg? I'm a bit confused there, to be honest. What are we talking about now? The park is open. We've entered Jurassic Park now. Honest to God. Yeah, I don't know, Justine. Easter egg, I suppose it could be. I find that a bit confusing. Is the egg what was created by the companies who went off to create? Is the egg what was grown from the washings that they took? It's a bit weird, right? Any virologists in the house? Who would even trust a virologist today? Honest to God. Oh, man. So we're now talking about an egg. 2 doses per egg. 30 million doses a month. Right. So they had high expectations then, right? Definitely. So it seems to be going along quite well. So far, so good, you could say. Lockstep, clockwork. But then it starts to get a bit not so good. Let's jump now to... I'm not going to find it now that I'm looking for it. I will be linking this in, by the way, this document. Few, everyone said. So they're still discussing production, how it's going to be implemented, covering their tracks, if you like. Yeah, this one here. June 1976, the 2nd of June, Cooper announces that Park Davis used the wrong virus in the manufacture of 2 million doses, implies that this alone may result in 4 to 6 weeks delay for the start of vaccinations. Right. So they used the wrong virus. Right. How did that happen? Oh, we got the virus from a bat, not from a pig. Is that what it was? Oh yeah, they weren't going with the bat virus then. That was later. No, this is the pig one we're going with now. Was it the wrong washings that they used? How could they have used the wrong one? I find that staggering. What would they class as being the wrong type of influenza virus? Do they mean it was the wrong strain? Which is a lottery anyway, by what they tell us. What one's it going to be this year? Take your pick from the mystery wheel. So it's still not quite rolled out yet in June 1976. But they're not letting it go, of course. And we're still not hearing, another 10 people died. Another 15 cases confirmed. Now that's later, of course. Lessons to be learned, right? Yeah. So we've got a casualty insurer a bit concerned. Casualty insurer tells Park Davis that as of July 1st, it will not be covered for swine vaccination. Merrill receives same message from its new insurer shortly after. So they knew then. Even the insurers knew. How did they know? They foreseen it. They knew what inoculation could possibly present a person with. Even then, they knew. So they pulled out and said from the 1st of July. Remember, this is June that we're in, the 10th of June. The 2nd of June, they're talking about it being ready in January. It could be available in January. And they've not rolled it out and you've already got insurers pulling out. Nope, we're not touching that. We won't be covering that, they said. Before it's even rolled out. So let's carry on. Still talking about insurance. Ends to tie up there, I'd imagine, right? Doses that could be ready. Again, they mention in here, they mentioned it once before about young adults and children. So the 21st, NIAID hosts a meeting to review the results of field trials. Results indicate that adults can be safely and effectively vaccinated with a 200 CCA dose of the swine flu vaccine, but that no acceptable dose has been found for young adults and children. Right. The 200 cc. Oh, bugger, where did it go? Yeah, 200 CCA. Oh, what have I done? Honestly. So not the one that we know they went with then. We've not heard any mention of that yet. The only one they've talked about so far is that one. So they're still going. They're still wanting to push it out. We jump into July 1976. Non-profit health group conveys a swine flu forum in New York. Dull speaks. Dull is back again. Never a dull moment, right? With Dull, Mr. Dull. Dull speaks. So that would have been interesting, that. Sure. And says that parallels with the 1918 are inappropriate. That there is no reason to fear that a 1976 epidemic would equal the 1918 pandemic in scale. Right. But the media, they never said that, of course. What they did is drew comparisons to the 1918 seemingly pandemic, right? So he reckons there's no reason to fear. So what's it all about then? What's it all about, right? I wonder how long that guy lasted. We're cracking on for time now. I want to take you to now we're talking about the 400 CCA dose. So again, not the one that they went with eventually, from what we know. Again, the talk of eggs here. Eggs that can be purchased. Patented eggs, I'd imagine then, right? I wonder who owned them. So I want to take you to where the issues started. The 19th here, after meeting with Matthews, President Ford holds press conference and announces that administration will find a way to carry out the immunization program, quote, with or without the support of Congress, close quote. Yeah, it must have been an emergency then, right? Sure. I take it Ford knew something that we didn't then. He must have been in a right state of panic. I wonder who was pulling the strings behind Mr. Ford. You'll do it with or without the support of these guys. He was going to be doing it. The 19th again. Cooper sends memo to the White House listing the program's problems and reviewing available options to deal with each. Raises termination of program as one option and limitation to high-risk groups as another, but rejects both and recommends continuation of mass immunization, even though they have now got problems, and even they are even raising the option of termination of the program already. But no, rejected. Continue. Yeah. Let me see if I can find the date. The right date that I'm looking for. August 1976. The 2nd of August 1976. Outbreak of mysterious disease reported in Philadelphia. Swine flu mentioned as possible cause of so-called Legionnaire's disease. Right. Huh. That is an interesting one, that. Right? Now I've got to watch what I'm saying here. But, I wonder. Oh, yes, swine flu. It would have been the swine flu. Yeah, okay, let's go with that. So they're getting prepared in bulk. Sound familiar again? The super duper drug companies. Hooray! But the good drugs, right? Not the bad drugs. Sure. Let's go with that. So again, it's all getting approved and all good in the hood, and we're good to go. The 6th, the president alarmed by indications that congressional enthusiasm for the bill is waning. Urges prompt passage before TV cameras. Says he is, quote, dumbfounded, close quote, by unwillingness of Congress to act. Yeah, I mean, how could they not be in a state of panic, in a state of fear? How many cases, how many deaths were there? Where exactly is the cause for concern, apart from the odd mention of 1918? Millions and billions of people died. Where's the panic? So really here, you've got two main drivers behind it, the CDC and President Ford himself. A super duper concerned guy, him, right? Yeah, I bet he was. Sure, let's go with that. And they're beginning to prepare the money for insuring the people affected. But they didn't know, remember? We never knew. If we knew, we wouldn't have done it, of course. Yeah, sure. Let's go with that. So I want to take you to the first mention of GBS, if I can find it. I should have marked it. Out. Typical, right? Let me see. So it's still being approved. It's good to go by the sounds of it. Yeah. Talking about vaccinating children, I mean, the complete insanity of that. Honest to God. On what fucking grounds exactly? That is complete insanity. Honest to God, man. So they're making sure that it's going to go ahead. Everything's being put in place. Signing all the documents, signing all the contracts, get it rolled out. October 1976, the 1st of October. William Shakespeare gets the shot. Of course, that was 2020. It was 2020 when William Shakespeare got the first inoculation. Anyone remember that? I mean, you could not make it up. The guy's name was William Shakespeare, the first man to get inoculated in the UK against COVID. His name was William Shakespeare. What more? What more do you want? Honest to God, what more would you want? To tell you that you live in a theatre? Come on. I could not believe that when I seen that. William Shakespeare. Honestly, I could not help but laugh when I seen it. William Shakespeare. Honest to God, even today it makes me laugh. William Shakespeare. Honestly, you could not make it up. So we're into October and it's getting rolled out. It's good to go. The money's in place. They've put up the money to fund those affected, right? Now we're not even 2 weeks into the rollout. 2 weeks, not even that. Not even that. The 11th of October. 3 elderly, not 1, not 2, but 3 elderly Pittsburgh people die, dead, shortly after receiving inoculation at the same clinic. Dropped, dead. 3 of them. The elderly, they went for. The next day, Pittsburgh health officials decide to close down the immunization program pending investigation of the deaths. Health officials in 9 states follow suit and 6 other program areas suspend use of vaccine drawn from the same batch as used in the Pittsburgh clinic. Oh, it was a dodgy batch, right? Yeah. Of course, we never seen any of these closures when similar happened in 2020, because similar did happen. Oh, it's not the juice. Don't be silly. Oh, they were old, right? Totally nothing to see. Remember what they called it? Oh, what did they call it again? Oh, a cluster of deaths at care homes. Remember that? The word cluster. Oh, we had a cluster of deaths. The COVID done it. Yeah, we started inoculating 2 weeks ago. But the COVID done it, right? Totally nothing to see. Yeah. That's what they said. COVID done it when they had clusters of care home deaths. Nothing to see there. And again, it was the elderly that they went for. And honestly, it breaks my fucking heart. We should be protecting elderly people as much as we can. And we failed them. We failed them. We're currently still failing them. Because these psychotic maniacs, they don't care about mass murdering people or anything like that. They wouldn't bat an eyelid at it. And it boils my blood, honest to God. So they closed down the immunization program in Pittsburgh pending the investigation, which I'm sure was, nothing to see. At a news conference in Atlanta, censor says CDC has sent epidemiologists to investigate the good guys, but that thus far there is no evidence to suggest the deaths were caused by the juice. Does that not sound familiar? Bit like Groundhog Day, is it? You can see what I mean by Groundhog Day, surely. We've all seen the movie Groundhog Day, right? Surely. Just me? Probably just me. Not a great movie, but that's what we're going through at the moment. So no evidence, shock horror. And the CDC sent the A-team to investigate, so you can trust them. You can take their word for it. Nothing to see here. Carry on. Keep going. Keep juicing. Right, okay. But 3 people. The same day. The same location. I mean, I'm not Columbo, but come on. Who are they trying to kid? And I reckon it was probably a godsend that a lot of them did close it down on hearing the news. But they wanted to keep going. Shock horror. They wanted to keep going. Where did I get to there again? Preliminary autopsy results are released on two of the 3 elderly persons whose deaths touched of the scare. What? Results indicate that cause of death in each case was heart attack. Right, heart attack. However, the county coroner, Dr. Cyril Wicht, Dr. Cyril sounds skeptical on the TV evening news, suggests deaths may not have been coincidental. I guess that was the narrative then. Oh, it was a coincidence. Heart attack. 3 people, same day, same location. Coincidence, of course. I wonder how long the guy Cyril lasted. Probably not long. His name might not pop in it again, I'd imagine. He'll be gone, right? Lesson learned there. Don't get Cyril on. Yeah. He clearly had his doubts about it being just a coincidence, right? So, the 13th body count begins. Huh? Miller issues press release saying that 14 persons in 9 states reportedly died after receiving shot. Says numbers are well within range of the expected for the first 2 weeks of the program, and that no evidence has been found linking any of the deaths with the juice. Huh. Yeah. So the body count has begun. But it was to be expected, and it coincides with what we thought the death rate would be naturally anyway. Remember that one as well? I wonder if they can still use that now. They probably would, let's face it. Climate change, I guess. So it never took long for the body count to start. The 14th, 33 persons now reported as having died. The 14th again, president and family receive the juice live on television. Well, not live, but before TV cameras. And you know if it's on the telly, it's all good, right? Yeah. The 14th again. Cooper holds news conference to summarise results of the investigation. Says both vaccination and immunisation programme are exonerated and describes, quote, body count mentality, close quote. All states which suspend either have resumed by now or will soon. Several areas report rapidly failing vaccination rate. Yeah, I bet they did. The 14th, again, a busy day on the 14th. On his network radio broadcast, Walter Cronkite, discusses or at least covers the Pittsburgh deaths. He does not, as far as I'm aware, link it to inoculation. And we know a wee bit about Walter, who, as far as I know, also seemingly took the shot. Sure. So I'm going to take you now into November 1976. The 5th of November. Remember. New York Times prints article criticizing the handling of the swine flu program. Says decision to proceed in March was justifiable, but the use of the 1918 scare tactics was not. So they did use scare tactics. Shock horror. Even though they said they would avoid the use. Clearly not, right? Clearly not. Again, they talk about stockpiling. I mean, insanity, if there ever was. I want to take you to the... here it is here. Into the 12th of the month. October, is it? I forgot. November, sorry. Man. Oh, God's sake, October. November 1976. Right? So we're, again, not really that far into it. Oh, my phone. The 12th of November. Case of Guillain-Barré syndrome in Minnesota. Vaccine. That's the first mention of it, as far as I'm aware. And it's not taken very long. As far as I'm aware, through the information that I've looked at, GBS and these kinds of drugs, if you like. Oh, bugger. My battery's running low. I'm really trying to watch what I'm saying. In my own view, this and GBS, it comes hand in hand. Again, I'm not a medical expert. You've got to go to the WHO for that. Bill Gates is the guy to see. Oh, wait a minute. But from what I can gather, yeah, like Carmel said, nothing new. It is completely nothing new whatsoever. So it wouldn't be a surprise, even going back then, to see this appearing after a mass campaign to juice. We'll go with that, right? Honestly, we're so on thin ice tonight. Yeah, there is more. There is quite a bit more. When we go into December, we've got more GBS, another 3 reported. You can recover from GBS, but I doubt you would enjoy it, put it that way. Paralyze you. Some people, I don't think they can recover from it. I guess we can only hope they make a GBS vaccine. Then all our problems are solved. Yay! Yeah, like the heart attack juice they made. Don't worry. If you have a heart attack, we can hit you up with an mRNA super duper gene therapy. Because that's what is now being trialed at the moment. We covered it before. And what shook me to my core was how it was administered directly right into the heart. Choof. And I mean, if that doesn't scare you, I don't know what would. Although, if you've suffered a serious heart attack, you might be willing to try anything, I guess, right? So we got 3 more cases in December. By the 11th of December, we're investigating GBS in 11 different states. And by the 13th, they're talking about shutting it down. On the 14th, the CDC finally issues a press release on GBS, says 54 cases in 10 states have this far been reported. That's the ones that got reported, remember. And of the 54, 30 received. I don't think it's been written out properly, which doesn't help me. 30 received the shot anywhere from 1 to 30 days before onset of symptoms. So what are they saying? That 24 of them never received the shot but had GBS? The only time I've ever heard about GBS is is due to some form of treatment. So I find that one quite interesting. I might look into that a wee bit more. Again, we're talking about faulty doses. Yeah, a bit of a dodgy batch going on, right? That's what it would have been, sure. So again, they've had a conference. So by this time, by mid-December, they're a bit concerned about the GBS situation. The Congress are now being informed about it. Yeah. I wonder what President Ford would have to say to these people that have been paralyzed. I bet he wouldn't even look them in the face. So by the 30th of December, 1966. Sorry, 1976. Ah, man, it's late. It's Tuesday now. By the 30th of December, 1976, the HEW announces that the federal government have received a total of 31 claims valued at 1.2 million under the tort claims bill. I would imagine the majority of them were to do with deceased family members. And of course, most likely the GBS as well. So by a week into January, the guy Cooper has had enough. He's resigned, got his pay pack. He's away, right? Yeah. On the 5th of January, a lengthy piece on the issue of declining immunization rates against childhood diseases. Yeah, get that in there. I wonder why people lost interest, eh? Who could blame them? So by the 14th, they're kind of admitting that there would appear to be the risk of contracting GBS, Guillain-Barré. Guillain-Barré. That must be the guy who discovered it. I'd imagine. Invented it, maybe. Incoming strike now. Ah, man. Look, YouTube, don't strike me. It's late. God's sake. Article 52, freedom of speech. Yeah. Of course, Article 52 exists, but only the people they say are allowed to use it get to use it. People like me, no, 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 no. I'm not allowed to have an opinion of you, not one that goes against the narrative. It's all very fitting, put it that way. So I don't know. Hey, we might if we could get a strike, but it might be in 2 years' time. It could be an hour after I finish. YouTube will decide on that. We might not get one. I mean, what have we said tonight that's not true? What have we said that would be deemed inappropriate, misinformation? Not a thing. All the things that we've covered tonight is information that's come out of the American government, the WHO. My dog's wanting out. Wait a sec. He loves going out in the snow. I think he thinks he's a snowman. I don't know why. Maybe in a past life he was a snowman, right? He's away out to play in the snow and probably dig up my bloody grass, which is frustrating. But there you go, right? What can you do? He's in the family. He's a member of the family. I think we'll call it a day there. I think we'll call it a day at that. But I'm going to link it in. There is a wee bit more to it. Not very much more. You can see the ends there, but I think we got the gist of it, to be fair. Yeah, we got the gist of it. You can trust Big Pharma. You can trust the government. You can trust the WHO. You can trust the guy, Cooper. I'm not sure if he's around today. I mean, the names that you get here, the guy Cooper, the rest of the names that got mentioned, they're the faces of it, of course. The people that implement it, they're not the people that pull the string. Not even the guy Ford, the president. None of this would have been his idea. The question is, who was telling him what to do? Who was the people behind him? Was the guy, what's his bloody name? Was the guy Kissinger? Was he around then? I bet you any money he was there prodding Ford. Look, you'll do it. You'll do what I tell you, or you won't be getting the Rockefeller money. And I wonder what kind of incentives got offered to Ford when he talked about the $132 million that was going to be put forward. What did he get from that? I wonder. That would be speculation, but what did he get from it? What was the concern? What was he really worried about that he wanted to push it through? With or without support. It must be done. But why though? For what reason? To what benefit? Because it certainly never benefited the American people. Or anyone else in the world that got inoculated by it. because I think it ended up going right across the board. But around 50, up to, I think 50 million people in America ended up taking it. And a lot of them were not happy, put it that way. What did they do? What was it all about? It was for your safety. Ah, stupid me. I always forget. I always forget. It's for our benefit. Yeah. Let's go with that, right? So, we've been live tonight on the backup channel and I believe on Twitter. Although I never check and I don't think anyone actually even watches. So I don't know why I bother, but I do. For the main reason I do is, for example, if tonight the live stream that we've done tonight, if it gets deleted here on YouTube, I've got it backed up on Twitter. Not only that, it should get uploaded onto my Odyssey, so it's going to be there. And I might download it. I've got a funny feeling. I mean, hey, let's face it. It's there's high potential it's going to get taken down. You could say we're in the danger zone. So that was quite a lot to take in, right? I don't think there's anything new there that people might not have already known, to be honest. It is truly horrendous what they do, what they've done. Absolutely horrendous. Nothing but criminal. And the fact that they've done it all again makes me even angrier. Going for the elderly, the most vulnerable in the world, manipulating the masses, emotionally, blackmailing them, bullying them, bribing them. Locking them down illegally. Home imprisonment. And a lot of people never even cared. A lot of people, they couldn't even see it for what it was, which is staggering. But hey, we never give up. And we don't give up on people either, because we've all been there. We've all been sound asleep. Yep, I fell asleep there. Genuinely. It's getting to that point. Oh, here we go here as well, look. Yeah. So they're back in Wisconsin. And I shouldn't laugh, man. It cracks me up. They've got swine virus. Swine virus is isolated from a 13-year-old boy. Subsequent investigation indicates pigs are source of infection. Burn all the pig farms. Burn them all down. If you like the smell of bacon, I guess you wouldn't mind that, to be honest. But again, yeah, I guess we take their word for it, right? It would have been the CDC that done it. They sent Scooby and the gang. They investigated it. Voila! Swine flu. And it came from a piglet, seemingly. Not a bat this time, at least. Yeah. They wanted everyone inoculated. which is again staggering. I struggle to see how how anyone thought that was okay. Honest to God. So we'll jump into the comments. Lots of comments. 654. I've missed. I've been trying to keep up on the the dog and bone. Yes, Scooby and the gang. I mean, who else would you call but Scooby and the gang to sort out the mystery? We need them today to to help us with the excess death mystery. Oh, the dog's wanting back in. Right, come on. Is it stopped snowing? Yeah. We're stopped now snowing, thankfully. It'll make for an interesting cycle into college tomorrow. On the icy roads, yeah. Never good, but hey, never mind your gurning. Go and lie down. He's wanting to join in the live chat. Are you coming up? He's coming to say hello. Come on then. Are you saying hello? He's a big bugger. He's getting big now. Are you speaking? Are you going to speak? Nope. Yeah, I don't think he can speak, to be honest. He can bark when he wants to. At nothing, usually. But he's a good dog. A great dog, actually. So we'll jump into the chat. Wow, it was on 666 there when I went back. Ah, man. That is so typical, that. Honest to God. So, let me say good night, good evening, and good morning, good afternoon to everyone. Anyone who's still here. Is anybody still here? Carmel is still here, thankfully. Yep, it's good to see you back again. A pleasure to have you tonight. Don't be taking any more days off work, skiving, duking off work, right? Let me know how the weather is in New Zealand, right? Australia, interesting. Always interesting weather in Australia. I kind of want to get into it a wee bit more. Remember when Marx Egan done he was still on YouTube, I think, at the time. And we had a situation in Australia with the wildfires. And Marx was doing great videos on the exposing the wildfires. And then all of a sudden he had what he described as an attack. Or they zapped him. And he woke up and made a video it ended up being one of the strangest videos I've ever watched. Honestly, I shouldn't laugh, but when I think back, fucking hell. I don't know what happened to the guy. Maybe they did. Maybe they did zap him with some kind of technology, because that guy, when he was covering the wildfires, he was on the money big time. So maybe they did. Maybe they did do something to him. And then after that, I mean, he kind of came to and said, look, something happened. They came here in the night and he seen a big light or something like that. And then about a year or so after, maybe 2, he was away to Mexico. And he reckons he got out before it was too late to get out. I'm unsure. I want to think that Marx is a good guy, but I take everything with a pinch of salt. Every single thing. Remember the world that we're in. And remember what the guy Bill Cooper said. Don't believe anyone. Not a thing. Unless you can confirm it or you can prove it yourself. Right? And then you're good to go. So, good to see Carmel in the hood. And Rich, of course. Yeah, of course Rich is here. He's still here. Following Carmel like a lost sheep. It's great to see Rich in the hood. Joining the Dots UK. Great to see you as well. Back again. He's got a successful bar. I never knew that, to be honest. Are you talking about Mark Segan? I was unsure if he did. I don't think he owns a bar, although I could be wrong. I could be wrong there. I know people. It's interesting because I know people who they've got a lot of time for Marx and they think Marx is a good guy. And I know people who they don't think Marx is a good guy. Me personally, I kind of feel that he is genuine, but I can't prove it. So I can't say either way. I don't know the guy personally. I have followed Mark since I've watched his content since 2014. So for quite a while now. And I found him via the Richie Allen show is where I first heard Marx. And I thought, yeah, this guy's good. Talks a lot of sense. And I've kind of kept an eye on him since. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't disappointed that he went to Mexico. I think he maybe done the right thing for himself, but I know he let a lot of people down, and they were quite upset. But that's between them and Marx in Australia. I'm here in Scotland. I can only deal with the ground that I'm on, and that's what I do. So, I don't know. Like I said, you take it all with a pinch of salt. Watch who you want to watch, right? Decide for yourself on people. Don't rely on anyone else to make a decision for you. Judge people on merit, what they do, what they say, gut instinct. It will not let you down. I kid you not. So, joining the dots, good to see you. Sue as well in the hood, a pleasure to see you. I'm hoping to be back on Wednesday, and it could be about Freemasons, right? I kind of want to get, there's a few things, excuse me. There's a few things that I want to cover in regards to Freemasons, so look out for it. I'm hoping to do that on Wednesday. It probably won't be. It'll probably be something else now that I've said that. That would just be That's Life, but not as we know it, right? I thought it was going to be Freemasons about COVID. Yeah, funny that, right? It probably won't be about COVID. Then we're going to get definitely deleted. I'll try and keep people updated as best as I can. In relation to any other strikes or what have you. So good to see Sue, Wendy, Dawn as well. A pleasure to see Dawn back again. Oh, he's given up the bar. Yeah, I don't think I could be in the hospitality game again. It's not for me, to be honest. So, who else have we got? Rich, yep, good to see Rich. It's a duck in the hood, a pleasure to see It's a duck. Justine, the beautiful Justine, a pleasure. Mark Spot a bar. Michelle, oh, there you go. I mean, I wouldn't. I don't think anyone would hold that against the guy. To be honest, you do what you do, right? I certainly wouldn't have an issue. He can keep it topped up for when I get to Mexico, right? We can all meet at the bar, and mine's is a double malt that'll do on the rocks. No coke, no mix, just straight as a die, straight down the hatch, right? That'll wake you up in the morning. I can assure you. I certainly don't promote the abuse of alcohol, right? Don't do it. Don't be silly. Moderation is the key, but even then, my advice would be to completely stay away from it. It's a pity that I don't take my own advice a lot of the time. That something I've noticed the older I get. We can always be good at giving advice, but not so much at taking it on board. So, hey, none of us are perfect. We all live and learn. That's the best way to do it. But the main thing is to always improve, know where you went wrong, and try better. That way you can't go wrong, right? Richard as well in the hood. A pleasure to see Rich. Thank you for joining the other night as well, Richard. Bandy Boo, a pleasure to see my good friend from down under. Thanks again for joining, and thank you for all the support. Much appreciated. MCG, I nearly missed. MCG, can't be having that. Good to see you. Gary as well, our brother Gary, back again. A pleasure. And quite a few people tonight. We get about the same numbers on the backup in a live stream as we do on the original. And the original's got about twice, more than double the subscription. But because it's been terminated twice, it basically went dormant and it lost a lot of, I guess, momentum that it built up. And it's not, I mean, it's never by accident. They kind of shadow ban any channel that's got a warning or a strike, which is pretty much us all of the time. We're always in YouTube prison. But there we go. We keep going, right? We're not going to give up. We're not going to bend. We're not going to break. In fact, it might only encourage, which is also interesting. I might have walked away in the past. Had I not got it back, I might have walked away. Without the backup, I might have walked away. But we got it back. And I mean, rightly so, we got it back. It was wrongfully deleted. And if they do delete it again, it'll be wrongfully deleted again. And we won't be giving up, put it that way. So, I guess until Mittwoch or Wednesday, if you like I always say, not for one split second live in fear. Don't do it. Don't buy it. Do what you've got to do. Do you know this? Don't let anyone get in your way. No one. You've got to do what you've got to do. If you believe it's right, if your gut, if your heart tells you it's right, you do it, right? And you do your best to be as content as you can. Life is never going to be perfect, but there's always tomorrow. There's always your bed to go into at night, right? And you can wake up a new day, a new dawn, right? And we go again. So, like I always say, no matter what, no matter where, do not comply.
sa branky och bin sa brona come ye by kiri cranky and ye had been why you want a bit say